yard, full of yard. This is 1206. We're heading northbound on the main one.
1206, why are you still on the main line?
We need to know the location of your yard's train.
Well, you know, it's not just a runaway train, more like a mystery train. And everyone wants to know, on this mystery train, is a certain pastor named Kim Jong-un on it? So we've got a possible secret meeting going on between China and North Korea. A lot of people are saying this, oddly enough, might have been propelled by those threatened tariffs and the likes of sanctions that are combining to produce an emergency powwow between North Korea and its biggest benefactor, the Chinese. Former Press Secretary or Vice President Mike Pence, Mark Lauder, also National Security Analyst Rebecca Grant. Did that, particularly on the tariff front, propel this move today? I mean, Rebecca, looking at what's going on, if Kim Jong-un is indeed in China, did the tariffs in a weird way force this?
They might have, but, you know, I don't really care who was on the train, whether it was Kim or his sister or Colonel Ri, their negotiator, or one of the other North Korean officials. I'm just glad that someone was there. If it's Kim, I think it's high time he got out. He needed a warm-up round. But this means to me that China is still very serious, wants to be a part of this. And hopefully there was some progress made in figuring out the big question, which is what is Kim going to want to agree to real denuclearization?
You know, it could be added pressure, Mark, on the North Korean leader from, again, his chief benefactor, the Chinese, to say, you know, you've got to behave, or these tariffs were just an elaborate subterfuge to get just what we're watching now. I know that was Steve Bannon's argument when in New York the other day.
I think whether it's the tariffs or whether it's just the ongoing maximum pressure campaign, it's showing that President Trump's leadership is working. North Korea knows that it needs to make changes. China has already come to the table and severely cut back on their exports to North Korea, which is putting a real crimp in that country's economy. So they needed to do something, and as he prepares to meet with the president, it's very important that they be on the same page, and it's good to see, hopefully, that China is going to continue to work with the U.S. and President Trump in continuing that maximum pressure.
Well, I don't know what's the genesis for what, so I'll defer to both of you, but I do wonder if part of this is about trying to settle on a location for the North Korean leader and President Trump to meet. The president can't meet in North Korea. I doubt even China is a logical venue. But what do you think of that, Rebecca?
It's possible. I wouldn't mind seeing a meeting in Beijing, but we're waiting to find out. The border remains a really logical location. Let's not forget, Kim does have an airplane. It's an old Ilyushin airliner that he purchased from the Soviet Union back in the day. So he can go where he needs to go. But I think the real issue here was probably a fairly tense meeting. China's been very unhappy with North Korea. Kim has created no end of trouble for them. So I think there were probably some stern words exchanged, whoever was in that meeting. And China will have reminded North Korea what they said last August, and that is if you start trouble, you are on your own. That was one of the key breakthroughs that led over time to this place where we're now about to have an important summit, and we have a chance to pull this back from the brink. I'm glad to see China doing this. You know, they are communist countries. They like to keep it quiet. But I see this meeting, whoever was in it, as definitely a positive step forward.
Now I'm going to sound like I'm reading a Bob Ludlum novel, Mark, but is this an effort on the Chinese part to say, we are so over you, Kim Jong-un. You have been such an embarrassment. You're going away. You're taking a little trip.
I don't know if it's going to go that far, but it is good to see that they're continuing to work with the maximum pressure campaign. And I do think, to Rebecca's point, when they said that if you make trouble, you're on your own, that's a significant step. Also, let's not underscore at the same time that the U.S. yesterday announced that we've got a framework in place for the new economic agreement with South Korea. So again, North Korea feels the news tightening around it, whether it's from China, whether they've got new economic cooperation with the United States to the south. These are all things that are coming together to make sure that we deal with the North Korean threat and deal with it quickly.
All right, guys, thank you both very, very much. Again, we have no real details yet.